Are we? Got it.
We are. Got it. Yes, meeting is now streaming live. Buongiorno.
It's not ready yet. There we go. Are we?
Buongiorno. Or buonasera. No. Mine would be buonasera. Yours would be buongiorno right now.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
I always had trouble saying buonasera when we were over there because I just can't roll my R's every time I want to, but if I don't want to, they roll.
That sounds like my Massachusetts accent when it comes out. It's like I park my car on Harvard Yard, and I'll put R's where they're not supposed to be all the time. Like, whoops. Oh.
Yep.
That's just the way we are. Hello, I am Amy Latino, and this is Design Your Life podcast with Jacki and Amy.
Yes.
And we are here to talk about something very secret, something very beautiful. Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Yes.
Sorry, that was my little nerd Gandalf thing there.
Amy loves the subject.
It's the ring. You know, we're talking about marriage and intimacy and all those things. The ring. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. See how I totally just
was that
all together right there?
Or is that actually like the ring symbol? Oh, is that? Oh,
it's Lord of the Rings.
I've never seen it. Yes,
how
we can
are we
still
even
be friends.
friends?
So stop it. No, we can still be friends.
How are we even?
I have so many other good traits you love about me. I have just never sat down and watched it. I've thought about it many times. This is that awkward moment where Amy's just learning something new about me and goes, I don't know how to carry on from here.
No, I don't because, well, okay. So this is how we're going to carry
on. That was really a great rendition of what I think it would sound like if I had watched Lord of the Rings.
I will be talking to you after this thing is all unrecorded.
I'll be here.
Okay.
I will not sign off quickly today.
Well, welcome everybody to Design Your Life podcast, as I had just said, and we're going to be talking about intimacy today. Do you want to start off, Jacki, or do you want me to start off? How do you want to do this? Making this organic.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot to share as far as specific things. I usually am really good at bouncing off of you and what you say and then just, taking it to a new level. But there's a couple of things about intimacy that I've recently learned, relearned, because obviously I've learned this through the Women's School Masterclass. But just, in thinking about intimacy and relationships and especially our marriages and that kind of thing, but really do you think that there's a little bit of intimacy in every relationship we have?
Yes.
So
yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of where did that come from? Where did we learn? I wish I had known sooner, that my kids were learning. And I guess I got this concept, but I just wasn't thinking about it as I was in the throes of raising them, of how much, that past your relationship with your dad. If you're a female, how was your relationship with your dad? And how did that impact your intimacy later in life with men and dating and marriage and things like that? And just, all of the men in your life, that was so profound to really think about while we were kind of talking about it, or thinking about intimacy this week and what we wanted to talk about. But also what also really impacts me, and it has for the last 3 years and has been kind of life-changing in our marriage, is just what we call in the women's school, the I3.
Yeah.
That formula that's basically a recipe for change, and just having that inspiring, being able to inspire your spouse.
Yeah,
that's so beautiful because you can't change other people. You can only change yourself. But if you're changing, you're inspiring other people to change. So it's such a beautiful gift because it does typically, I won't say 100% of the time, but it typically will bring about some change. And we don't think
Yeah.
about those things, when we look at other people, we think, oh, somebody needs to change something about themselves. We can't get close because that's frustrating or annoying or whatever. But I could change my perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can have a connection. What?
Yeah, exactly. It's going from situational strategy to, thought, emotion, and action. And if that action is something that you don't want, then we're going to go from the action to the thought to, from the emotion to the thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's that up and down situational strategy that we do here in the women's school. And that is like, if you don't want that outcome, then change who you are, to inspire the other person. Change who you are. Start watching.
I could do this. You mean I could do this?
Exactly.
But how many times, sometimes in a relationship, when that intimacy, when that connection is lost, you're thinking, well, I can't have done anything better. Like there's nothing else I can do. And yet every time I am blown away by the fact that there is actually something I could do differently. Mm-hmm. And that impact, like inspiring that change, that's our impact. So there's our second eye. And then our invite, like it's amazing how you don't even have to physically or verbally invite someone into that change process. They just kind of come along with you when you're like intimately involved with them, like that, that marriage is going to have an impact, even if it's just you doing all the changing or doing the working on it. And I've seen that myself. Like I'm incredulous every time I see that happen. Like, oh, I need to pivot right now and see, like, would I handle this a little differently? But the response I get in return is just as impactful. So I love that. Like, I don't consciously think of the I3, but I love the I3 because that really helps you to think. So inspire, impact, and invite. Just
absolutely. Yes. And absolutely, like, writing that down and putting that, on your vision board.
On my wall behind my computer, so I can stare at it all day long.
How am I going to inspire my husband today? How am I going to impact him today? And that changes all within who we are. And, you said something really important too, is, our past relationships, because that's what we have to go on. When we get up in the morning, the first thing that we think about is the past, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So that's what our experience is. So when that happens, we tend to project, in the present moment, all of those past hurts. And, January was saying something really interesting on the part of intimacy, where one of her friends was, she was kind of pursuing her dad for a relationship. And then in later on in life, she started pursuing men, wanting to be treasured, wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen. And that wasn't working out for her, in that. And I was like, wow, that was something that I remember doing with my dad. Or I was always seeking him out for the affirmation of who I was as a woman. And that's so important for us as we're growing up. Yeah. It's having that admiration, having that, being told that, wow, Amy, you impact me. I mean, how much different the conversation would be, in those really painful moments of my life, if I had a loving response from my dad. Now, albeit my dad did what he could with the best. My dad did the best he could with what he had. So, you don't know, if you don't know you're in a prison, how can you escape? Right. Yes.
And that was, even when you want to be different, sometimes if you don't know how to be different, that's where like skills and learning the mindset changes is key for that. Because I mean, I look back and I don't think our parents had those skills. They weren't.
No. And I mean, we weren't given them, as I'm raising my own children, I'm here, swimming in all the littles at the time that I look back at, I'm like, oh man, I really could use that at school, just to help me out. But, it's in those moments, praise God, I have it now because my kids are still in the house. They're still growing and I get I get to change my attitude. I get to have that. And that's such a privilege, and not a burden, knowing that I am going to fail forward fast, but I'm also going to learn from it,
Pretty much
right?
every day. Yeah.
But I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to extrapolate the good and leave the bad, and I'm going to just, make sure that I am being the best person now to be my best version self, later as well. I'm always growing, in other words. But
I'm always telling Jamie, I'm like, because we have the one who already is out of the house. And so it's like, I tell him all the time, if we're not dead, we can grow and change. Like, this relationship can be strengthened, even in the areas that we needed to work on. We've still got time. Like, they're never gone 100% until, excuse me. Don't like to think about that part, but also and also you said something earlier that reminded me. Do you know one of the best things when Jamie and I were dating, I remember him saying to me is, "You make me want to be a better man."
Oh my gosh.
And
ladies, that's what you need.
Exactly. I mean, let's just put it that way. There was no going back from that moment on. And it's funny because, having had the past experiences and relationships with men, men or my father, and, my dad and I had a great relationship later in life when we both kind of learned a lot, and it really became a beautiful thing. But growing up, he didn't know how to relate to me. I was too emotional, all these things. And I took that into relationships. So when I met Jamie, I was in a place where I was like, totally going to get it right this time. And I did everything I could to get rid of him. But I say that in a way that because the culture, I was not going to be of the culture when I met him. And when he said that to me, I mean, obviously, swoon, but do people swoon nowadays? I've never been able to use that word in a real sentence until now.
I'm swooned.
Yes. So that bowled me over that he said that. And, it does make such a difference when you are cherished by a man, because it's truly what we're looking for and what we should be expecting. But we also need to be that person in return too. But another part of this conversation.
Absolutely. And also, that intimacy is that innermost part of who we are, and it's a sacred place. It's a mutual sharing of the most sacred place of who we are, right? It's a place where someone has to earn that right to be there, right? It's not just something that you just give willy-nilly to anybody.
Right.
And we ought to have the freedom to love and to be loved, which is the deepest desire of our hearts. And it's that universal desire for intimacy, for us to know that we are lovable and that we can love in return. It comes from a deep need to belong. We have that connection, that communication, just like that rat part that we talked about a couple of episodes ago. We have to have that connection. It all
it all relates. Every week now we are tying it in. Yes.
Mind blown, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is true.
Yeah.
We need that connection, right? We need a safe place, and we need to feel protected and being treasured by somebody who makes us feel that we are capable of love, which in turn should inspire us, right? It's that mutual love of each other to become worthy of that love, right? Right? We need to be worthy of that love, and we need to inspire that person.
Yes.
Right. And they need to earn that space, that sacred space, to be with us too. It's a beautiful dance, and it's being impacted by that person, and we receive and reciprocate that need, want, desire, and joy. So I love that.
Yeah, I do love that too. And one thing that when you are sharing that, it makes me think about, so much of the time we take our wounds, like our past wounds, into our relationships, but what's really profound is when we can take those wounds and turn them into contribution to a relationship. What a beautiful gift, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. That is a glorious way to put that. Our deepest wounds kind of propel us into more empathy or more compassion or more it gives us that virtue of courage. So it is for the sake of the other person that you love completely, totally, fully, fruitfully. It's I love you so much that I want the best, then only the best for you. And you inspire me so much, or I'm just in awe of you. And that awe makes me want to change. That's a beautiful thing to feel. That's like, yes, I want more of that, because nobody wants to go into a marriage with, crap or anything like that.
You don't want to be looking at your spouse, significant other, as you're like going through your wedding vows and thinking, yeah, this isn't like, I don't know, let's try it out for a year or two and see how it goes.
No. Isn't that, and it's unfortunate, because I think that's some of the cultural mind too, is like, well, it's just a piece of paper. No. No. And I love the little, comeback. So is money, but you work for it. Money is a piece of paper, but it has value.
Yeah.
Your marriage has value. Your marriage is meant to bring people into this world, and I want to stop here for a moment and just pause on this one particular song that I was talking to Jacki about a few minutes ago. It was like a huge song back in the 1980s. It was like all the wedding people,
because that's how old we are.
because that's how old we are. But my dad was a cantor at the church, and my oldest sister was she played the organ there. So I remember a lot of times that there are weddings and he would sing it. Oh, he had the most beautiful voice, my dad. And my sister, just singing with him. It was a beautiful thing to grow up with. But they would sing this at the weddings, and it's called the wedding song, and the lyrics are so profound. I have to share them. Like when we were talking about intimacy, it's like this song just boom comes up in my mind. And part of the lyrics is, they shall travel on to where the two shall be as one. And as it was in the beginning, is now until the end. Woman draws her life from man and gives it back again. There is love. Well, then what's to be the reason for becoming man and wife? Is it love that brings you here, or love that brings you life? For if loving is the answer, then who's the giving for? Do you believe in something that you've never seen before? There is love. The marriage of your spirit here has caused him to remain. For whenever two or more gathered in his name, there is love. Like, even like, I'm like almost a little teary-eyed. I'm like, I gotta get through this song.
Yes. Well, and when you hear it sung, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna cry every time.
So if we take this a step further, as God has created us in his image, he created us male and female, and centuries passed, and redemption is about to be spoken into existence. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh. In the women's school, one of the things that we talk about are our words become flesh. We have to be careful, because our words become flesh. Because remember, we're made in the image and likeness of God. So that sacred space, who was meant for my husband and I as his wife, spoke a public declaration of love, and of which we had to name our love practiced in private: Sophia, John Paul, Joseph, Dante, Francesco, Sienna, and then those that have gone before us. So that is such a profound image to take with us when we're speaking of our love for our spouse, our marriage vows. They're serious. They're not just a piece of paper. I am taking a vow, not a promise. I am taking an oath, a vow, with my very life. to love, honor, and cherish. I mean, we need to see that the person who fills our universal desire as someone who has called us into our unique mission and that divine purpose. This is somebody else who can see us as nobody sees us, that quirkiness or that silly side that only they get to see. And it's in those details that the person can celebrate and appreciate who we are. And it's a beautiful thing to remember, is that they get to see you in a depth that no one will ever see.
Mm.
Whew. Let me tell you, that is just so cool. I love this.
Yeah.
This is like one of my most favorite talks.
It is so beautiful. And, it's just not, I don't know, aside from the women's school, where do you go to learn this stuff? Church, obviously,
Theology of the body.
Yes. Yes. And there's the plug for that. Yes. Because honestly, that's, I know I always, tell my husband, I'm like, I have a guidebook. It's called the Catholic Church, but it's unfortunate because that's not, I have so many friends who are not Catholic but are really beautiful Christians. And, just, I love that we have this, but I don't, share it with the world. So it's called Theology of the Body, and definitely worth the read, even if you're not Catholic. It's such a beautiful, is that where Pope John Paul II, Saint, I don't know what order it's supposed to go in, Pope Saint John Paul II, where he shared the beauty of the husband and the wife and the man and the woman and their connection and their intimacy and all of those beautiful things. It's it's so profound, but it makes so much sense, I think, when you delve into it and you read it and just, pray about it, pray about what you're reading, to really have the Holy Spirit help you discern what you're reading, because he does a beautiful job.
Yeah, he does. And it's very heady. If you're one of those people that really love the challenging theological depth and perception, it is a great book to read. But I need
the abridged version, or the
one for lay people, because I understand that better.
At work, we call it, if Jacki understands it, then everybody will understand it. So we've termed that the village idiot. Not in I know it sounds derogatory, but it's a total joke and everything. But it's true. If I can understand it, anyone can understand it. You gotta break it down to basics for me, sometimes. Just because, I think that's important, because, when it is heady, it's hard to read. And sometimes, you read it and you go, I don't know what I just read right there. So I love that there's also different ways to see, to have that explained. I think, does Christopher West have is he the one that has the great version that's kind of on a layperson level?
It's called Theology of the Body Explained. That's what it is.
Okay.
Theology of the Body Explained. But Christopher West does, so does the Everetts. I don't remember his first name.
Is it Chris Everett? Maybe I'm getting confused. No. Tim?
Jason Everett. And Kristalina is his wife, I believe.
Okay.
Everett. So if you're listening to our podcast, you're welcome.
Yeah. We're going to put your name in here so you can know that we talked about you, and totally plugged your explanations, because they're incredible. I mean, we're sharing that because it's real, not just because we know or we don't know them, but anyway.
Yeah, it is real. They do have podcasts as well, so I'm sure if you just plug in their name in whatever vehicle that you use for podcasting, I'm sure they're going to come up somehow. And if not, just look them up on the web. I know Father Michael Schmitz. He also does a lot of wonderful explaining on the theology of the body as well, and little short videos too. With that said,
let's just give him a plug for his Bible in a Year is phenomenal too.
So. Bible in a Year, Catechism in a Year.
Plug. We don't get credit for it. No, but we wouldn't have learned all of these beautiful things without these people. So regardless of, whether or not they're listening, these are like, it's just, you've got to have that. And obviously listen to our podcast first and then go to everybody else's, but just that's just
That's really funny.
Friends.
That is really,
permission
really
after
funny.
You listen to our podcast. But you got to listen to us anyway to know about it. So there you go. So
there's one
a little off track. So
a little off track. There was one little thing that I wanted to also share, especially for our young audience. Let me just pull it up here for a second.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. If I can real quick while you're looking for it. Oh my goodness. Like, I know. Okay. So I know how hard it is for young people to listen to us older people, because we just, we don't understand. We aren't living in the same times, whatever, the case may be. But just know that, like, we look back now and say, I wish someone had told me this when I was young enough, before I made all these mistakes. And of course we have to make mistakes. I mean, obviously we do. But oh my goodness, if we could understand these things prior to entering into that marital relationship, how much better would our marriage be? How much better would we be? And how much better would our spouses be with all of these gifts that things like this podcast are going to give you? I pray it's a gift. I mean, we feel like it's a gift because we've been blessed with it, and now we want to share it.
Yeah.
So that's
So we get excited and passionate about it. Yes. Absolutely. One of the things that I wanted to share with our young women here is, and this is from my upcoming workshop, Embrace Your Wholeness, Transform Your Health. When I was going through it, we talk about being embodied, and being here and being present in the moment. And part of that is our sexuality, obviously, is being, present with our sexuality, whether we're 750 pounds or whether we're 98 pounds. We need to be present with our bodies, and that's part of our sexualities. And in our culture today, women are taught that sexuality gets the attention of men, which can in turn result in obsession with food, body weight, and unwanted eating challenges. And it's often a smokescreen for wanting love and relationship and connection, and trying to achieve it via diet and exercise. So in other words, because women look to get love through having the correct body, diet and exercise become the royal road to love and happiness. And I'm just putting this out there right now. No, it doesn't. And I'm very passionate about this because I came from a place where it was, I thought the only way that I could be loved is through being a certain number on a scale. And that causes so much damage and really just disconnects. It diseases us both in mind, heart, that the emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual. It breaks us down. So know that you are looking for someone who, first of all, your dates should be, I'm here to contribute. That's it. I'm here to just have this conversation and to be detached from the outcome. Whether he's going to be the one or whether he's not going to be the one. What you're doing is you're showing up to have that contribution. And what is that contribution? You're there to show him what it's like to have, to treat a woman. So you show up. And if you're showing up in a scantily looking dress, and I'm going to put this out there, scantily looking dress, you have, like, I don't know, a sign on you, I'm open, that's what they're going to expect. Okay. And so you want to show up as your best and highest self, and being, your presentation in your body language, in your tonality, in how you dress is all so important. And it's important for him too, If he's coming up with like ripped jeans and it's all the way, past his butt, and excuse me, no, no, you don't do that. And, please just stop kidding yourself that, oh, it's the times, or this is how they dress. No, don't justify it. You deserve better than that, because you're worthy of that, and you're lovable like that, and you're worthy to, to impact that man. You want that. You want yourself to be able to impact that person, and again, just be detached from the outcome. You're just there to show up and just be your best and highest self and what you're called to be. And that's my postulation for the day.
That was definitely beautiful. But also, when you get older, obviously we have been through there. We've been through that. We've been there. And I think that, looking back, that's where my best connection came from, was having more of, a stance of, let's just be blunt, I'm not giving anything away. You've got to earn
that right to be there.
Yeah. And it's amazing how men but what a beautiful, oh my goodness. I start spinning out of control when I think back on these things. As I think about this, holding a man to a standard of how to treat you. But then it goes back to this beautiful design that God created, and how he created men and women. So much of, we could take control of our relationships with men and we could damage them, or we can bring elevation to them, because we inspire men in such a way of how to treat us. Right. It's been said a million times, but, that, and I'm not trying to plug our class right now, but the beauty of this masterclass that I have not found anywhere else is that gift of being able to say, I am worthy of a certain standard. And there's no desperation that comes in when you feel like, oh, I got to hurry up and find someone, because I'm whatever age you are, whatever standards you've put on that. But honestly, you might have to wait a little bit longer. But I do feel like when you get to that point, a lot of times that's when you meet that person.
Yeah.
When you've created that standard and that boundary. And then, I feel like you're attracting that. And then that's when you're going to find that quality man.
What you focus on expands.
Yes. You're really good at remembering those. I'm good at explaining them, and that's why we work well together.
That's why we work
remember
well
the
together.
Actual phrase. I remember the standards that go with that. We are a team.
Yes, we are. We're a pretty good team.
Yeah, I would say so. That's why we're friends.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's so hard, when you're in the world, because yes, there are a lot of men out there that expect certain things, because they're just used to it. That's the way the culture goes. You're just going to act a certain way. But I guarantee you, I challenge you to be different and to be that woman that makes him pause and go, that's interesting. Because it's very different from everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what happened with my relationship with my husband when we started going out. I was sick and tired of being treated wrongly. And I remember when he opened the door for me, I was like, who is this freak? Because I didn't know my worth at that time. And I think it was the second date or the third date, when he opened the door for me, or when he he would pull out my chair for me, and I felt uncomfortable, and I was like, no, you lean into this uncomfortableness, find out why you're uncomfortable. Is it because he's treating you well? Oh, well, let's look at that for a second, Amy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to know your worth. And it's not the selfish kind of worth. It's the worth knowing that you are a beloved daughter of God.
Yes.
And that, and act like one.
Yes.
Be that woman that you maybe didn't have as an example in your life. Be that woman.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that by going to the women's school. All right.
And just one more point to that on the opposite end of this, because I feel like this is super important too, because I've seen this in action, and I want to just say, and when you get that man who treats you that way, treat him that way too.
A to the man.
We are really good sometimes at not, and that's also a devaluation of our own worth, because we don't feel like we're worthy of that. So then we kind of feel like, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Well, you know what? As long as you both are holding those standards, then it's going to make it easier to consistently stay on that path and that track.
Wow. That is amazing. Yes. Really wonderful. Very potent point. Good job. Yes.
Thank you. Every once in a while, I throw out those little nuggets.
That was really good. Oh my gosh.
I love speaking from experience.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
All righty, my friend.
Gift we had today with our intimacy talk, and it wasn't as uncomfortable as y'all thought it was going to be, was it? Maybe it was. No. If you were uncomfortable, just come talk to us. We'll help you out.
Like I said, this is one of my most favorite subjects to talk about. My daughter will vouch for me that I sometimes can be a little bit more brass, and
passionate.
I have no problems talking about it whatsoever to anyone. It is just a favorite subject of mine.
But it's also a very valuable subject that I think we don't spend enough time looking at and thinking about. And I am so glad we got to do this today.
Yes, I am too. All righty, my friend.
Learn something from us. And so if you are out there listening to us live, thank you. And if then thank you later when you're listening to us not live.
Yeah, and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to subscribe.
Always hit that subscribe button. Yes. We want to keep coming for you. And we've had a 2-week break, so now we're back.
We're back again. All righty, my friend.
All right. Take care. Ciao,
God
ciao.
Bless.